Instagram is live now, so everybody's on here. Hope everybody's had a great week so far. Hope y'all had a great weekend over there on Instagram, Facebook. Hope y'all had a great weekend as well. We getting into another week. We got 2 weeks left in the month of May. Then we get into June, and we almost halfway through the year 2020 already. I don't know. Some of you feel like that it feels like that already. Some of you may not. But either way, it's happening. Whether you feel that way or not, that's just what it is. But as y'all checking in, y'all know what it is. Tell me your location in the comments section. Ray checking in from Playa del Rey. That sounds like it's nice weather. That sounds like a place with nice weather. Playa del Rey. As y'all checking in, y'all know what it is. We're going to get started in a minute. I'm just adding something to my list here that I need to send out. Hope everybody's had a great Monday. Like I said, we're going to have a great Tuesday. I'm going to give you this is going to be the bridge between a great Monday that you already had or that you're in the midst of having, and a great Tuesday that you're going to have tomorrow. Tell me your name and location in the comments section, and we're going to get started in a moment. I'm going to give everybody like 30 seconds, then we're getting right into this. $30, we're getting into it. Facebook, hit that share button, please. Hit that share button on Facebook. Any of y'all who want to lurk on Facebook, since I can't see who you are, you want to lurk, hit that share button. Instagram, ain't no share button for y'all, but you can hit that comment button. You can leave a comment, tell me where you're checking in from. We're getting started in 30 seconds. I'm going to introduce myself, then we're going right into it. We don't want to waste too much time here because time is of the essence. Time is the most valuable resource we got. So I'm going to make sure we ain't wasting them, make sure we're going to make the most of every minute that we use up. We're going to do something with it. So for those of y'all who don't know me, my name is Baldwin, also known as Dre All Day, former 9-year professional athlete, author of 26 books, producer, publisher, speaker on 4 TED stages. I'm a keynote speaker, coach, consultant, producer, editor, owner, operator, CEO, and Uber publisher of content. I publish over 15,000 pieces of content that includes 7,000 YouTube videos, 7,000 articles, over 1,500 podcast episodes. And I got some new stuff coming, more stuff coming when it comes to that podcast game. So if y'all ain't checking me on the podcast game already, listen, what I got coming very soon is going to have you checking me on the podcast game. Trust me. Now, what I've done and what all this is about that I just laid out is all under the framework of this philosophy I created called Work on Your Game. It's all about taking the mindset necessary to be successful as a professional athlete, which I did on the basketball court, and teaching you how that mindset can transfer over and apply to everyday life, and how it applies to your business life as well. And every one of us we doing something. Most of us wake up and we do something. It's taking up the chunk of our waking day, whether that be school, some kind of work, a business that you're running, something that you're doing, playing a sport. We all spend our whole days doing those things. So I teach you how the mindset you need to be a pro athlete, which is being in the top 1% of what you do, how you can apply that mindset in everything you do. One of my books, of course, is called Work on Your Game. It's all about that. What we're talking about here today is the difference between strength and toughness. They are not exactly the same. And this comment is a little bit longer than I thought it was going to be. So I might need to write me a different comment to make sure y'all can see everything that's in here. But I can't even see. VKNOW. There we go. All right, this is better. So let's pin this comment, the one that I just posted. There we go, right there. Now that's better. All right, Cherry Hill, New Jersey. What's good? Strength versus toughness. There are many who have one and not the other, and there are some people who have neither, and there are a few people who have both. And a lot of people kind of use these two terms together, but I'm going to define both of these terms for you, and I'm going to explain what they mean for you, metaphorically speaking, so that you know how you can apply these and what you do in your life. Because as they say, there's levels to this. There's levels to these games, the things that we're playing out here. And if you lack either one of these, it can hurt you in either situation. If you lack strength, that can hurt you. If you lack strength, you have a lot of toughness, you can still lose. And if you lack toughness and you have strength, you can lose as well. So you want to have a combination of both. You want to know how to use either one based on the situation that you're in. Crestview, Florida. What's good? Number one, let's get a definition of this word strength. Definition of strength means a quality or state of being physically strong. Strength is your ability to make things happen. That's what strength means. Your ability, your quality of being physically strong, meaning what can you make happen? What outcomes can you affect? What change can you force to occur right now? That's what I mean when I say strength, metaphorically speaking. So your strength could be, if you got $500, that means you can make that payment that you need to make, and you can take care of that credit card bill, and you can buy everybody dinner. That's strength. That's your ability to do something. Okay. So strength is just your ability to do something. So if you're an athlete, you play basketball and you work on your game a lot, you're a good three-point shooter, you have strength when it comes to shooting three-pointers. That's one of the strengths of your game. You ever hear a scout say that? All right, strengths versus weaknesses of somebody's game. All right, one of the strengths of this guy's game is he can shoot the three-point shot. That's your ability to do it. You can do that really well. Or somebody's good at driving to the basket and dunking on people. One of the strengths of their game is that they're athletic and they like to drive to the basket and they can get fouled and they draw contact and things like that. So strength is just your ability to make stuff happen. When you work on your game, you are developing more strength. Whatever game you work on, you're developing more strength in that game. So if you work on writing every day, you're developing your strength of writing. You're developing your writing muscle. If you speak every day, you're developing your speaking muscle. If you ride a bike every other day for 25 miles, you're developing your strength when it comes to riding that bike, whatever skills you need to do that. The more things you work on, the more strength you develop. And the more strength you have, the wider the scope of the possibilities of what you could accomplish in your life. So you want to develop strength. You want to get better at things. You want to add skills to your skill set. You want to work on your game because that means you have more possibilities. So the basketball player who can only shoot threes, that's all they can do. That's their strength, but their weakness is that they can't do any of the other things. Maybe they can't drive, maybe they can't dribble, they can't pass, they can't really play defense, they don't really grab rebounds. But the player who can kind of do a little bit of everything, that all-around player, the LeBron James type of player, they can dribble, they can shoot, they can pass, they can play defense, they can drive to the hole, they can take the contact, they can play on the outside, they can play on the inside. So you want to have more strengths, but you also got to know how to use them. But you want to have them, right? You want to have more tools because, as the saying goes, better to have it and not need it than to need it and not have it. That just makes sense. So you want to develop strength to have a higher amount of resources. The more resources at your disposal, the more possibilities that you have that you could possibly, make work in your life. So this is a good thing to have more strength, more resources, more tools. Point number 2. We're talking about the difference between strength and toughness here today. For those who came in the middle of this, let's get a definition of this word toughness. Toughness means being strong enough to withstand adverse conditions or rough handling. That's the definition of toughness. Let me say it again. Strong enough to withstand adverse conditions or rough handling. So your level of toughness defines how much of your strength you actually use. Y'all following what I just said there? See, strength is what you are capable of. Toughness is, are you able to withstand adversity or a rough situation? In other words, when things don't go the way that you thought they were going to go, can you still utilize your resources? So, for example, going back to the example that I just used, let's say a basketball player is really good at shooting a three-point shot. You know they're good at knocking down that three. And if you watch them in practice when they're by themselves and they got the coach passing them the ball, they just making everything. They shoot 100 threes, they make 87 of them. Like, damn, this guy's a great shooter. He's making all these shots. But now you put that same player in the game, of course, the defense is not going to leave that player wide open all game, especially if he makes a bunch in the first quarter. They're like, all right, guard that guy. He can make threes. Let's see if he can do anything else, but don't let him shoot any more threes because he keeps making them. Now they're going to start guarding him. Now they're going to be playing him close. Now they're not going to let him get any open shots. Now, how many three-pointers is that player going to make at that point? Now everybody's paying attention. Everybody's trying to slow you down. Everyone knows that you can do it. Can you still get your shot off even though everybody's trying to stop you from getting your shot off? This is where your toughness comes in. And I want you to understand that toughness doesn't mean just gritting it out and just forcing up a crazy shot even though you got 3 people on you. Toughness is your resolve and being resourceful enough to figure out another way to achieve your outcome, even if the basic way or the smooth way or the quote-unquote easy way of getting your outcome is no longer available. See, I can make a whole bunch of threes in an empty gym with nobody playing defense, but if somebody's playing defense and they know that that's my strength, shooting threes, and they're going to say, all right, whatever we let this guy do, don't let him shoot threes. That's the one thing he's great at. Don't let him do that. That's the strength of his game. Now, how many threes can I make now? Can I go run off some screens and get open? Can I catch the ball off the catch and get open? Can I just outrun my defender? Can I just sprint up and down the court faster? Can I make some plays on defense? What can I do to still get that opportunity even though everybody's trying to stop me? That's where your toughness comes in. See, your strength is what you're capable of. Your strength determines what you're capable of. Your strength determines your potential. In basketball, for example, especially in basketball, you see a lot of players get drafted. Every year, players get drafted, and what do they talk about? The potential of this player. How good could this player possibly be? Because when you first get drafted, most of the time, players who get drafted, whatever they did, wherever they were before that, is not going to be enough to do it at the highest level, right? But You draft them because you're projecting that over the years, as they work on their game and get better and learn more about being a professional, that they will fulfill their potential and become a better player. And some players do that, and some players don't. Some players fulfill their potential, some players just come up short. And what's the difference between the two? Because every player who gets chosen has some form of potential. All right, nobody usually gets chosen like if they just stay exactly how they are forever, we'll be happy. No team says that. They all say the player's good now, but we want them to get better. They have potential to get better. They have the strength, the resources to improve. But the question is, do they have the toughness to where they actually improve? See, toughness is whether you improve or don't improve. Strength is whether you had a potential to improve. Almost everybody has some level of strength, some level of resources, some level of ability, some level of talent, skill, whatever words you want to use to define just somebody who works on their game and they got some game. Toughness is, what are you going to do with that game? Where's that game going to actually take you? Are you going to get some actual results from the fact that you have all that game and that you have all of that potential? That's where your toughness comes in. Okay? The level of toughness defines how much of your strength you use, and your level of toughness also defines your capacity for developing more strength. For example, when, let's say, LeBron James, as I already used him, he came to the NBA, he was pretty good. I think people could agree he was pretty strong, metaphorically speaking, in terms of his tools and his skills. He was pretty good. All right, his rookie year, he averaged like 20 points, 5 rebounds, 5 assists, which would be great for damn near any player in the NBA who's been in the league 10 years. You average 25 and 5. You're a pretty good player. You're pretty close to an all-star if you're not already an all-star. LeBron was that his rookie year without really having to do that much extra work on his game. But he continued, I think we can all agree, he continued to work on his game. He continued to add to his skill set. He got better. And then he got to the point where he averaging 30 points and he averaging 8 or 9, 10 rebounds. This year he was leading the NBA in assists, and hopefully they finish the year. So he can say that he led the NBA in assists for an entire season. Or I guess if they end the season, he would still lead the NBA in assists. But what did he do? LeBron James, I think we can agree, based on what I'm talking about here today, he had the toughness to continue developing the strengths. He had the skills. Again, he was good as a rookie, but he kept developing. He kept getting better. He kept working on his game. So in the summer times, he worked on something. I don't know what he was working on, but he worked on stuff. He's doing stuff now that he wasn't doing when he came into the league. So it didn't just happen by, he didn't just dream about it and he just woke up with skills. He went in that gym, worked on his game. He went to the weight room, got himself stronger, went to the cardio or his trainer, got in better physical shape, invested in his body. Of course, people heard the stories. He invested all his money in his body and in his trainers and his nutrition. And he did all these things to make himself better. So he developed more strength through having toughness. See, there's a certain level of strength that every one of us has. We have a baseline capacity for developing. Renzo was good over there on Facebook. We all have a certain baseline of strength that, again, is our potential. So somebody may have the potential to become super, super strong in terms of their skill level. They can maybe get up here. Their potential might be here. Your potential might only be here. Or maybe yours is way above everybody else. But whether you hit that potential, let me back up. What opportunities you get are based on the potential that you show. So when you show that you have a high level of potential, you're going to get a lot of opportunities, at least early on, because people are like, damn, look at all the potential this person has. But now as time goes on, people are going to stop looking at you just based on your potential, and they're going to start saying, all right, this was this person's potential 2 years ago. How much of it have they fulfilled so far? How much better do we think they're going to get based on what they've done over the last 2 years? Based on what they've done compared to expectations. Are they meeting it? Falling short? Are they exceeding expectations? Are they going to get better? Or are they going to get worse? A guy like LeBron, he kept exceeding the expectation. He kept getting better than what people even thought he was going to be because he had the toughness, again, based on the way I'm talking about it here today, to keep working on his game, keep getting better. His potential kept getting higher. And he still was one of the best players. I guess I ain't going to argue who's the best player, but he's still one of the best players in the game. Anybody can agree with that, even if you hate LeBron James. So anybody, to put this in a more black and white practical terms, anybody can grow to bench press 300 pounds. Anybody who's listening to this, if you wanted to really get to where you could bench press 300 pounds, unless you can already do it, you could develop that skill if you wanted to. If you had the right training and you showed up to the right places and you had the right instruction, the right people telling you what to do, and you had the right nutrition and the right everything, somebody could teach you how to bench press 300 pounds if you were willing to sacrifice some other things in order to do that. Okay? Anybody could learn to run 10 miles nonstop without stopping. Anybody could develop their body in order to be able to do that. You could. I'm not saying you have to. I'm not saying you should. You could if you wanted to. The question is, do you want to do the work that will be necessary for you to achieve that outcome? Now, you might not be a bodybuilder or a distance runner, so understand that don't take those literally, the examples that I'm giving. You can swap out anything that you want, anything that within reason for you, whatever you consider to be reasonable, you could do it. If you wanted to write a book, you could, if you wanted to. If you wanted to, I don't know, what is it that you want to do? If you want to drive a Lamborghini and buy it in cash and drive it off the lot and then buy another one the next week, you could if you wanted to. The question is, do you have the capacity internally, the toughness to do what will be necessary in order to make that a reality? That's the question that you have to answer. It's not, do you have the potential to do it? There are most of the things, as the saying goes, if you can see it and you can believe it, then you can do it, right? R. Kelly said it in the song. If I can see it, then I can be it, then I can do it. I believe I can fly, right? You can do it anything within reason you could do if you can think about it. If you could write it down, if you've ever seen anybody else do it, you could probably do it. Question is, are you willing to make the sacrifices necessary to get there? Are you willing to put the time in, put the effort in, put the work in, make the sacrifices, give up some things, and add on some things in order to do it? If you never bench pressed before in your life, you're probably going to have to give up some of the things you are doing. Maybe you have to give up some TV, give up some watching movies, maybe give up the ice cream, maybe give up the alcohol and give up the potato chips. But then you're going to have to add in a gym membership and some protein shakes and eating more protein bars during the day. Some things you're going to have to add in, some things you're going to have to get rid of. You could get there or get damn close to it, right? And this is with anything that you want to do in life. The question is, do you have the mental toughness to actually do it? Do you have the mental toughness to even try doing it? That's even a better question. On the other hand, I want you to understand something. You could be very strong. Let's say you're a person who has the ability, you could already bench press 300 pounds. You could already run 10 miles without stopping, and you feel like you could run another 10 miles and don't even need no water. You might already be there, right? You could be very strong, but have very little effect on circumstances, meaning you are not able to use your strength to change any outcomes or have any impact on anything in life. Why? Because you do not have toughness to match your strength. Now, I want you to think about this. You ever seen a person who had a whole lot of talent, a whole lot of ability? It seemed like they had a whole lot of potential to do great things, but they do very little. Their accomplishments are very small compared to their potential, and you're looking at them like, wait, how do you have all this talent, but you're not even doing anything? You ever seen an athlete who just had a lot of talent for their sport, but then they get in the game and they ain't doing nothing? It's like they're not even out there. It's like they're not even on the court or on the field or the track or whatever sport they're playing. Even though they have all this talent, maybe more talent than everybody else out there, how are you doing like nothing at all? How is that possible? This is because somebody can have a whole lot of resources, a whole lot of talent, a whole lot of strength, yet if they have no toughness, that means they can't apply their resources and make it have an impact on success, an impact on outcomes. This is the difference between strength and toughness. Strength is what you can do. Toughness determines what you will do. There's a huge difference between the two of them. There are some people who are only good, metaphorically speaking, when they're playing home games. You know what I mean when I say a home game? That means a situation where everything is working in your favor. Everything is set up for you to win. There are no adverse circumstances. Everybody's cheering for you. Everything is just lined up for you to be successful if you would just do whatever you got to do. Just paint by numbers, just go right down the line, everything will work for you. That's a home game. And in life, though, if you're going to be successful, you're going to be a champion in life, you got to win road games. Some of y'all watched the Michael Jordan documentary last night. I didn't see the last two yet, but I will. When Michael Jordan won those championships, multiple times they won on the road. The Lakers, they won that championship in a road game. Phoenix Suns, road game. Utah and Seattle, the first Utah and Seattle, both at home, then the last one. So 3 out of the 6 championships, they had to win that last game on the road. They had to win a road game to win that championship. In life, you're going to have to win road games if you want to be successful. If you want to stand out, you want to be different, you want to have a huge impact on success, how we define the word important, you got to win road games. Meaning, when the situation is not set up in your favor, everybody is not cheering for you, you might have to go against a little bit of unfairness, if you want to call it that. You got to face a little bit of adversity. If you want to be a champion, you got to learn how to win on the road. It's true in the sports world. NFL teams, baseball teams, hockey teams, basketball teams, you got to win on the road to be a champion. Now, you can't just win all your home games and lose all the road games and think you're going to be a champion. Impossible. You got to develop the mental toughness, the toughness to fight through the circumstances that are not set up for you to win. They might be set up for the other guy to win. Can you win anyway? That's a measure of toughness, not a measure of talent. That is not a measure of skill. That is not a measure of how much you worked on your game. That's a measure of mental fortitude that comes from in here or in here in the heart. Do you have it? That's just a question you got to ask yourself. Point number 3. Toughness makes a way where strength cannot make a way. This is the difference between toughness and strength. Strength, again, is what you can do. Toughness is what you will do. When you are tough enough, you will create an opportunity for yourself even when you have reached the end of your talent. When you use up all your talent, all your abilities, all your skills, but you still need to get something done, the only way you'll still get it done, even though you used up all of your game, is if you have toughness. This is when you go to another level. So when Michael Jordan, for example, played in the flu game, and we know now people have started to say, well, it wasn't the flu, he got poisoned with a pizza or whatever it happened to be. We'll just call it the flu game because it sounds better, right? It sounds better than the food poisoning game. When Michael Jordan played in the flu game, if it's to believe he was actually sick, which I think he wasn't playing off of talent. That wasn't his talent that made him score 38 points in that game, make the game-winning shot, and help the Bulls win that game. No, it wasn't talent. It wasn't him just having worked on his game more than everybody else. It wasn't how great his jump shot was. That was toughness. He had to grit that out because that was a road game, literally a road game, and it was a road game in his mind because his body wasn't feeling great. Normally athletes are in great shape, right? They work on their bodies, they got big muscles, they can do all these things. But a lot of that was depleted in him because he was feeling under the weather or whatever was going on with his body. That was a road game in more ways than one. But he was able to be successful in that road game because he had the toughness to do so. That was not talent, that was toughness. And I'm just using Jordan as an example, but there are plenty of examples in everyday life. It doesn't have to be a famous person. Toughness just means resourcefulness, people. It means knowing that there's a way that you will figure things out despite the fact that the situation at the moment is dire and it may appear that you don't have a way out. You don't have a way of figuring it out, but you figure it out anyway. When Michael Jordan made the shot against the Cleveland Cavs in 1980, I think it was 89, that he had just given up what was supposed to be the game-losing bucket. His guy, Craig Elo, beat him to the basket on the back door, made a layup that was supposed to be the game-winning bucket. Then Jordan, toughness, used his talent to make another game-winning shot right at the buzzer, and the Bulls won. And y'all saw that in the documentary. You probably seen that video many times before the documentary ever came out. I did a masterclass a long time ago, masterclass number 853. You can access that at Working Your Game University, up there on Facebook, down here on Instagram. It's about being a dog. Being a dog in competition is about your level of toughness. It's not about how much talent you got. Because if everything in life was a talent competition, then we wouldn't have competition. We would just say who got the most talent, and it'd be over. We just hand out the trophies. We wouldn't even have to play the games. Toughness determines whether somebody with a little bit less talent can beat somebody who is supposedly on paper better than them. So when y'all hear that saying hard work beats talent when talent doesn't work hard, that is technically not true. But if the talent is not that much of a difference, let's say one talent is here and the other one's right here, person down here can beat this person because the gap's not that big. Now, if the gap is this big, you might not be able to win. You might lose anyway, no matter how hard you work. But the point is this. Being a dog in competition is about your ability to take your toughness, combine it with your talent, and when you multiply talent and toughness together, that's when you get the magic mix. That's when you get the magic outcome. That's when you get a Michael Jordan. That's when you get a Kobe Bryant. That's when you get a LeBron. When you ever take the toughness, a mindset that I'm going to make myself get better, I'm going to find a way, even though it seems like there's not a way, with having ability. Now, you can't be without ability and no talent and think you're just going to tough your way through to success. Probably not. It's probably not going to happen. But if you got both, that's when great things occur. So you got to ask yourself, where's my talent? Where do I have the most talent in my life? And then where can I combine that with toughness? That means that I have the ability to, I can do, and I want to. Y'all understand that? Can do multiplied by want to equals magic. Now, if you can do something, but you don't want to do it, then it's not going to be fun. You won't do it. If you can't do something, but you want to do it, there's only so far you can get because you don't have the ability. But when you can, and if you can't do something and you don't want to do it, then you'll never even think about it. You might as well not even start. You wouldn't start because you don't want to. But if you can and you want to, that's when you can become great. So what your job is to figure out, where do I have both? I got the skill and I have the desire. Where you got both, that's where you can be great. All right, don't pick a place where you only got one, because then you're going to come up short. Now, let me recap this. I'm going to tell you about these books I got in front of me. Then, if people got a question about this subject, strength versus toughness, go ahead and post it in the comment section. I will answer it. The topic here, again, strength versus toughness, understanding the difference. There are many people who have one but don't have both. and they don't understand the difference between the both. And that's why I'm explaining it here today. Number one, definition of strength: quality or state of being physically strong. This is your ability to make things happen, your skill. The more skill you got, the more possibilities, the more options. This is a good thing to have skill. Number two, the definition of toughness is being strong enough to withstand adverse circumstances or rough handling. In other words, your level of toughness determines how much of your strength that you actually use and your capacity for developing more strength. If you want to get better, you got to be tough enough to force yourself to keep working on your game, even though you may already be good, even though you may already have gotten recognized for your skill. Toughness is what's going to keep you showing up, working on your game, and coming back to the gym. Anybody could develop the strength to lift, bench press a whole bunch of weight or run really far without having to stop. But the question is, do you want to do it? It's not can you do it. The question is, do you want to do it? The things that you want to do and you have ability, that's where you should be focused on. At the same time, somebody could be really strong, have a lot of resources, but without toughness, they'll not use any of their talent. They'll be an underachiever. Point number three, toughness makes a way where strength cannot make a way. Toughness means resourcefulness. It's knowing that there's a way, figuring things out, even when the situation does not look like you'll be able to figure it out. So when I talked about being a dog in competition in my masterclass number 853 at Work on Your Game University, that's what I'm talking about. I'm talking about toughness. I'm not talking about talent. You can't manufacture talent. You can manufacture toughness. You can choose to get tough. Now, hopefully, let me say that a different way. Going through circumstances that will force toughness upon you and you stick in, you stay in there, even when things get tough, that's how toughness is developed. But you can choose to do that. You can't really choose to make yourself have God-given ability. Either you got it or you don't. So the question is, how much of your strength, your abilities, are actually going to come out in your life? That is answered by how much toughness you actually possess. So if somebody got a question, go ahead and post it. I'm going to tell you about these books right here. Both of these books are already paid for, which means they will be free to you. All you do is take care of the shipping to get them. But let me tell you what these are and why you would even want them. This book right here is called The Mirror of Motivation. It's a self-guide to self-discipline. I wrote this book for the person who really wants to tap into who you truly are deep inside, so you can start doing what you really want to do with yourself, so you can start living the life that you really want to live. I call it the self-guide to self-discipline because this book is not about me hyping you up or giving you some motivational speech. I don't even like those for myself, and I called it The Mirror because it ain't about me, it's about you. I'm going to teach you how to look into the mirror of your soul, looking into yourself, so you can start being who you truly know you are, doing what you really want to do, so you can have the life that you really want to have, which means you're going to separate yourself from everybody else out here. You're going to start living your life in a way that you never thought possible. The old you is going to get thrown away, and the new you is going to emerge within the amount of time it takes you to read a 150-page book. That's how soon you're going to get results with this book. If you want that, go to mirrorofmotivation.com. This is the title. Take out the mirrorofmotivation.com. The book is free. You take care of the shipping. I'm shipping these worldwide. Doesn't matter where you live. This book right here is called The Overseas Basketball Blueprint. I wrote this book for the player who wants to play. You feel like you have the skills. You feel like you have the talent. You have the potential to play professional basketball somewhere in this world, but to this point, you've been overlooked, you've been counted out, you've been underrated, people haven't really been paying attention, nobody scouted you, you haven't gotten any offers, but you still feel like you can play pro ball overseas. Get this book so you can travel the world, get your housing paid for, your food is paid for, your flights are paid for, you get paid to play basketball every day. That's your whole job, is to get on that court and show your game. If you want that lifestyle, you want that job, if you believe you're good enough, go to balloverseas.com, get this book, and I will lay out the entire blueprint, the map, for what you need to do to play professional basketball overseas at balloverseas.com. The book's paid for. It's 237 pages. You see it. All you do is take care of the shipping, balloverseas.com. Now, I think we got a couple questions here, so I'm going to address them. If you got a question, make sure it's a good question. Post it in the comment section. I'll address it right now. Saleh said, I've been working on my dribbling while fasting. That's what's up. Shout out to everybody working on their game. M. Al Majed said, do I usually respond to emails? Yes. If it's good. If you send me an email, keep it short. Don't put a whole story in there. Just ask. If you got a question, go ahead and ask the question. I am Joe Garrett says, to what extent mental toughness can be improved? Isn't someone's toughness a set parameter by nature and life experience? So answer your first question. Your toughness can be improved as much as you're willing to put yourself in situations that will challenge your toughness. The second question, is someone's toughness a set parameter? No, absolutely not. You can develop more toughness depending on the situations you're willing to put yourself in. Now, Joe, if you look around at most people in life, most people do not develop more and more toughness in life because most people get into what all of us have heard of called the comfort zone. We get into a space where we're comfortable, where we're relaxed, where we're used to things, and most people never expand themselves past their comfort zone. Therefore, they never have a need to develop any more toughness, and that's why they don't. It's not because you can't, it's just that people don't do it, which is the exact point that I'm talking about here today. If you want to develop more toughness, for example, let's say somebody wanted to get tougher at, let's say boxing. You're a boxer, and you beat up all the fighters in your neighborhood at the gym that you go to. You beat up everybody. Now, you're pretty good. Everybody's recognized you as a neighborhood champ. If you want to develop more toughness in boxing, what do you got to do? You got to stop showing up to that gym against everybody that you already beat up. You got to go to a different gym where you might get beat up. And then when you get beat up the first day, the question is, are you going to come back the next day? If you come back the next day, that's when you start to develop the toughness. You know that you got beat up, and now you're going to face that same dude again. That's toughness. Where you know you might lose, where you know you got your butt kicked last time, do you show up again and fight another day? That's toughness. But you got to step outside of your comfort zone to do that. Now, if somebody's the neighborhood champ, they beat up all the boxers in the gym. Usually they just keep coming to that gym and beating everybody up. Why? Because they're comfortable there. They're the superstar there. Everybody knows who they are. Why would you leave that? That's comfortable. It's easy. You're the man. Why would you leave that? Most people won't. But if you want to develop your toughness, you got to go somewhere where you're going to be challenged, where you might lose, where you might get your head bit off, where you might just get dragged. And you got to show up there and keep fighting. That's how you develop toughness. But most people don't want to do that because it's uncomfortable. And that's why it's outside of the comfort zone. So you see how all this stuff connects? I did a masterclass on developing more toughness. I'm going to tell you where that is, actually, too, because I want to make sure everybody knows where you can get access to that. Is at Work on Your Game University, just in case y'all didn't know. Masterclass number 1386, how to develop and maintain mental toughness. Right here. You see that highlight? See that blue highlight right there? How to develop and maintain mental toughness. Masterclass number 1386. So any of y'all want to know how to develop and maintain mental toughness? 1386. You got to put yourself in challenging situations is a short answer to the question. I Am Different Jay says, I've been grinding. Can you check out my handle? No, I'm not a scout. I'm not a coach either, so I don't assess people's basketball workouts. But there are trainers out there who will, so your job is to go find those people and let them check out your handle. If y'all ain't got this book right here, it's called Work on Your Game. I took my whole philosophy on the mental game, how it applied to my sports life and my entrepreneurship life, and I've created a framework that you can use it in anything that you do. You can get this book at workonyourgamebook.com. It comes with $1,000 in bonuses. You buy the book, it's $25. It's a hardcover book. It comes with $1,000 worth of bonuses that you will get immediate access to while you wait for us to ship that book out to you. This is workonyourgamebook.com. It's my whole philosophy and a 250-page book. I even got my picture in the back right there with a suit on. Workonyourgamebook.com. Let's see what we got here. Pierre says, do you think toughness is the key factor in what separates the average from the best? I wouldn't say it's the key factor. I would say it's a key factor. There's a lot of key factors. If you ask 10 different people, they're going to tell you 10 different key factors. I would say it's one of them. Toughness is definitely one of them because to separate the average from the best, actually, the average from the best, usually the difference between the average and the best is just natural ability and talent. Average, everybody can be average. The best usually have a certain amount of talent and they combine that with toughness, and that's how they become the best. Now, you want to say the good from the best, people who are already really good, and then the best is only a small difference. Now, that's where toughness can be a much bigger factor. But if somebody's average at, let's say somebody's average at basketball and they're going against me, I could probably beat the average basketball player at basketball simply because I'm more talented than them. Even if I'm not trying hard, I'll beat them just because I got more skill than they got. Nothing they can do to beat me, no matter how hard they try. Now, somebody who's really good at basketball, I'm going to have to actually try to beat them. Now, that's a different thing. You understand? Joe Garrett, I appreciate it. Ian Manor said, at what age should an athlete retire? Whenever they want. How old is Tom Brady? 45? 42? He retired whenever he want to retire. And some athletes retire. It'd be football players retiring when they're 25, right? Because they don't like getting hit in the head. So who's right and who's wrong? Nobody. Everybody got their own life and choose their own path. Saleh says, didn't Tim Grover say talent ain't enough? I don't know what Tim Grover said. You got to ask Tim Grover. I know what I said because I wrote this book right here. I know what I said in this book. So you can get this at workonyourgamebook.com. I don't know about, you can't ask me what nobody else said. You got to ask them. Somebody asked me my Jordan Doc thoughts. Well, I think it's great that the youth got to see it. Almost everything that's in that documentary I already knew about, because for those of y'all not old enough to remember the 90s, there used to be these things called VHS tapes, and they used to make a Jordan tape like every year. There was one called Come Fly With Me. It was one called Michael Jordan's Playground. So all these stories that y'all just heard in that doc, they were in those tapes. He told these stories before. They're not new stories. They're new to most people because most people didn't watch all the tapes like I did or read the books. It's like 7 books about Jordan or by Jordan that's already out. Roland Lazenby wrote one. David Halberstam wrote one. Sam Smith wrote one. Michael Lehigh wrote one. Mark Vansell wrote one. Jordan wrote 2 himself. So that's 7 books right there. So I've read all of those books. So everything that was in the doc wasn't new to me. So I was kind of disappointed because I wanted there's some new Jordan stuff. But at the same time, I understand it. The doc wasn't made for me. The doc was made for people who didn't know nothing. And most people didn't know anything. So I'm glad that it came out. If any athlete deserves a documentary about themselves that's alive, is Michael Jordan. Shit, Dwayne Wade made a documentary about himself. You saw that documentary? It's like a commercial. It's a Dwayne Wade commercial. Tom Brady did one on Facebook. It wasn't that interesting. That was like a commercial. Athletes make their own documentaries now. And they're not good. But I'm glad that it came out and people got to at least recognize the guy as much as you could in those documentaries. I wish it was more just Mike talking. That's what I want. I just wanted to hear Michael Jordan talk. I didn't need to see like the old footage from the games against the Celtics and the Pistons and recapping the championships, because I already know about that stuff. So I didn't care about that. But I understand, like I said, the doc wasn't made for me. The doc was made for people who don't know any of Jordan's story and they don't know all the details and they never read the books. It was made for everybody else. So I'm not mad at it. Somebody said, imagine Jordan in today's NBA. Man, there's like 300 articles out there, people arguing about that. I ain't even getting into that conversation. He was great in his NBA, and today's NBA is what it is. So shout out to everybody in the NBA. All right, so let me tell you about these books right here. MirrorMotivation.com. This book is free. All you do is take care of the shipping, self-guided, self-discipline, so you can start getting rid of the old you and bringing in the new you by looking in the mirror. I'm going to tell you how to do that. MirrorOfMotivation.com. If you want to play professional basketball overseas, balloverseas.com. Your travel's paid for, your food, your housing's paid for, and you get a salary just for playing basketball. If there's a better job in the world than that, somebody tell me what it is. Exactly. Ain't one. Balloverseas.com. You want to play professional basketball overseas. I'm doing these lives every single day, 5:15 p.m. Eastern. If you didn't know, turn on your notifications, turn on your, whatever you got to turn on so that you know when I'm going live. 5:15 p.m. Eastern every single day on Facebook, at Facebook/WorkOnYourGame, and Instagram at Dre Baldwin. Everybody have a great day. I'll see y'all tomorrow. Work on your game. We out.